Alrighty, guys, welcome back. It's the fifth part of our series, and obviously the last part of the um, of the Freedom Five. This is hero number 5 of the Freedom Five, so this will be the last one, and it is called the Wraith, which is kind of a lot of people call it as the Batman type character. She uses a lot of gadgets. She's very rich and uses all of her money to fight crime, and she kind of has a nice, cool, interesting backstory. So we're going to talk about the Wraith this time, the last of the Freedom Five heroes. Alright, so let's get to it without further ado. And here we go. There's the Wraith, part of the Freedom Five, and as I scroll down again, you can check out her backstory. If you're watching this later on YouTube, just pause it and give it a good read. It's pretty interesting, and again, they can give you a lot of information about what's going on with this character. Great. Alright, so let's take a look at the Wraith and see what she does, shall we? Alright, show cards. Here we go. So her original is Mystery Comics Wraith, 26 hit points. She has stealth and reduce the next damage that would be dealt to Wraith by 2. So she can just go incognito, and again, kind of the same thing like Batman, standing on top of the buildings, watching over the city. And anyways, if she's knocked out, super cool artwork on this. One player may play a card. One hero regains 2 hit points and destroy an ongoing card. Here lies the Wraith. Pretty good. Let's check out her variants and see what she's got. I think she's got 3 variants. Variant number 1 is Mystery Comics Wraith, 27 hit points. Sleuth. Reveal the top card of the environment deck, discard it or play it, depending on whether it's going to help you or hurt you. Alright, not a bad power, and of course, different powers on the backside. Move an equipment card from the hero's trash into play. One hero regains 2 hit points, or destroy an environment card. Second variation is going to be Wraith, the Price of Freedom. Great artwork on that one again. 27 hit points. And she has the last stand power. The Wraith deals up to 2 targets, 1 melee damage each. Turns her into more of a damage dealer as opposed to defender, which is good. And then on the back side of her card, one player can draw a card, one destroy an environment card, or put an ongoing card in play on top of its associated deck. And there's a Spite there, looks like, tossing the Wraith away. Alright, and I believe our last variant is going to be Freedom 5 Wraith. Excuse me. 28 hit points. Clandestine funding. Power, draw a card until the end of your next turn. Whenever you draw a card, you may discard a card. If you do, another player draws a card. So, great way of getting a bunch of cards into play and getting your allies to draw cards as well. Bunker would love this to get more cards into his thing, as we've talked about already. So this works really good with Bunker. And I should mention, it's probably the first time I mentioned this in this series, is when you are creating your group of powers and your characters, you should look at combos that work with the heroes that you're bringing in. So if Bunker is in a group and he is always looking for cards, this would be a good way of helping out, changing your default variant. And is that it? I think that is it. Yes, we're back to straight 1. Alright, so let's take a look. 12 or 15 different cards in her deck. 40 card deck, just like normal. Some 2s, some 3s. She's got a lot of equipment, or a few equipment cards. Few ongoing cards. Mostly a couple one-shots. Some equipments that are limited. So let's take a look at them. 2 cards in the deck, Combat Stance, Ongoing, Limited card. The first time the Wraith is dealt damage by a target each turn, the Wraith deals that target 2 melee damage. Not a bad card to get into play, to be honest. Anytime she takes damage, the first time she takes damage from that person each round, she deals it 2 damage, which is not a bad ability at all. A really good card for her. 3 copies of this in the deck. Grappling Hook. It's a 1-shot. Destroy an ongoing or environment card, and then can draw a card. So it replaces itself with another card, and it destroys an ongoing card. We've talked about that. You have to have a way to get rid of those pesky ongoing cards. Or you can also take out an environment card. So that's why this card is so good, is because a lot of times environment cards will be pesky, and you can just literally remove it. So that's why this card is really good. Impromptu Invention, 1-shot, draw a card, search your deck for an equipment card, and either put it into play or in your hand, and then shuffle your deck, and you may play a card. So she's going to search her deck for an equipment card, find it, put it into her hand, shuffle her deck, and then she plays a card. It can be that card or it can be something else, but it's going to be good. So getting an extra play of a card is pretty good. Infrared Eyepiece, a really good card for her. Equipment, Power, reveal the top 2 cards of the villain deck. Put one on the top of the villain deck and the other one on the bottom, and then draw a card. That can be super powerful if your villain is going to be doing nasty, disgusting things to you. You can look and decide which card you want to have come up next, because you're looking at 2 cards, putting one on the top, one on the bottom. So if he's got a nasty effect, you can, oh, nope, put it on the bottom. And then not only that, but you know what's coming up. So there's other characters that can get rid of cards on top of decks and stuff. So if you draw 2 really bad cards, you could have Wraith put one on the bottom, and then another character just discard the top card of that deck. So a super good card. Infrared Eyepiece. Oops. Inventory Barrage, 1-shot. Destroy all of your equipment cards. The Wraith deals 1 target X projectile damage, where X is 2 times the number of cards destroyed this way. I mean, I'm kind of torn with this card, because she needs her equipment cards to get set up and do extra damage and do all of her fancy things. Why would she tear it all down just to do a little bit of extra damage? It just doesn't make sense, to be honest. And this, emergencies happen, or maybe you got extra copies in your hand, but I don't know. I'm torn. It just doesn't make sense why original Sentinels of the Multiverse would have you tear your character cards down just to have to put them back into play. 3 copies of Mega Computer Equipment, reduce damage dealt by environment cards by 1, which is nice if you got pesky environment cards that are just hammering your characters over and over again. You can really prevent that from happening. And there are 3 copies of this in the deck, and notice it is not limited. So you can actually have 3 copies of this in play and reduce the damage quite considerably. The Mega Computer. Then next up, Micro Targeting Computer is equipment. It's limited, so this one you can only have 1 in play, but you're going to increase projectile damage dealt by by the Wraith by 2. Increase projectile damage dealt by the Wraith by 2. So she mostly deals projectile damage, so this is a super important card for her to get into play. Super important. Get it into play. You're going to be doing 2 extra damage for the rest of the game. That's pretty good. Razor Ordnance. There we go. Right here. Boom. The Wraith deals 1 target, 3 projectile damage. If you have in your micro targeting computer, you're going to be doing 1 target, 5 damage instead. That's pretty good. We already talked about this. 1 or 2 damage is light. 3 or 4 damage is medium. And 5 or more damage is heavy. So if you're doing 5 damage, you're doing heavy damage amount. Equipment limited smoke bombs. Whenever a villain card would be dealt damage, to the hero target with the lowest hit points. Redirect that damage to the hero target with the highest hit points, and then reduce damage directed this way by 1. So, this doesn't seem like a very good card, to be honest. Like, oh, it's just moving damage from one character to another character, but it is reducing damage by 1, which can be very important. Okay, so instead of 3 damage, you're only taking 2. Instead of taking 5 damage, you're only taking 3. But the most important part of this is it's going from the lowest hit points to the highest hit points, which keeps your characters with low hit points alive. Characters like the Fanatic, who literally love to want to be at 10 hit points or less so she can activate all of her super cool powers. But she risks getting knocked out and killed because, 2 enemies hit her when she's at 10 hit points that can kill her. So if you get this into play, that is super good. Extremely good. And it does have some damage reduction on there because, again, Legacy has, if you're redirecting the damage to the target with the highest hit points and you're talking to tougher characters with more hit points, they have some kind of damage reduction like Bunker or Legacy. So you're reducing it by 1, they're reducing it by 1. Instead of taking 5 damage, you're taking 3 damage. And that is a big deal. Especially for what I said, there are certain characters that want to take damage on themselves. They want to not have to worry about, I'm the lowest one with hit points and taking damage all the time. Next up, 3 copies of Stun Bolt equipment power. The WRAITH deals 1 target, 1 projectile damage. Until the start of your next turn, reduce all damage dealt by that target by 1. Very standard power. We've seen this a few times. You hit somebody and their damage is reduced by 1. If they're going to stick around and they're going to be doing damage, it's okay. It's not a bad power. Get it into play. Might as well. Suture Self. 1 shot. The WRAITH regains 3 hit points. Very simple. 1 shot. Gets you some healing back. Good card. There's only 2 copies. Use it when you get it, and if you're hurt. Throat Jab, 1 shot. The WRAITH deals 1 target, 2 melee damage, so this doesn't get buffed by her micro targeting computer because it's not projectile damage. The target dealt damage this way cannot deal damage until the start of your next turn, which is, again, a super good way of kind of nerfing some character or some enemies. They're going to be doing a lot of damage. Oh, they're going to take 5, 6 damage from this character. Well, we can nerf him and just, boom, hit him for a couple points of damage. And we'll deal with him later on. Maybe next round we'll get the cards out where we can take care of this card. So any card that causes that enemy to basically not be able to do anything on their turn, really nerfs them, is a great card. And there's 2 copies in the deck. Throwing Knives, equipment, WRAITH deals up to 3 targets, 1 projectile damage each. Again, with your micro targeting computer, that's going to be 3 targets, 3 damage each. So you've tripled your damage by having that card in play. So not a bad power. Not a bad power at all. Trust Fund, draw 4 cards, discard 2 cards, helps her get all of her cards she needs in play. Not a bad card to kind of siphon through your deck, get the cards you need. There are cards you want to get into play, including this one, your utility belt, 3 copies of this. You may use an additional power during your power phase. So yeah, she can go stealthy and reduce damage dealt to her, and also do, do Razor Ordnance where she's doing a lot of damage, or do some Throwing Knives where she's doing damage to a whole bunch of targets. So utility belt is super important. You want to get this out. You want to get your mega computer out. You want to get your micro targeting computer out. So great way to cycle through deck is that. And yeah, you want to get your utility belt out. So, alright, with that said, we've looked at our variations. We looked at this character. She's the last of the Freedom 5. And what do I think of WRAITH? WRAITH is an awesome, awesome character. Super good. As you can see, she does some things for herself. She does a little bit of damage. She protects herself. She does a little bit of healing. She does some card draw. She looks at the villain's draw pile. She's kind of a jack of all trades. She does a little bit of everything. Almost an auto include in a deck, and she would go with any group. She'd be a great character to put in any group. And she does a lot of good damage. She does need a couple cards to really fine tune, but she can start doing damage right off the bat. And even if she's not doing damage, she's very defensive while she's getting set up. She has a reasonable amount of hit points, 26, but damage is going to be reduced. She can also do damage in retaliation when somebody attacks her. So she's causing damage to the enemies. She's letting people draw cards. She's getting things set up for herself. She can redirect the damage of enemies. She has so many cards that just help everyone, including herself. She's a really good character. Definitely a material. A lot of people, a lot of friends and stuff love to play WRAITH, so I never get a chance to play WRAITH because they're always like, oh, I want to play WRAITH, I want to play WRAITH, I want to play WRAITH. When I played with Phoenix Knight, he's like, oh, I want to play with WRAITH. So I don't ever get to play with WRAITH, so I don't use her very often, to be honest. But, she's a really good character. Like I said, just a jack of all trades. She can do a little bit of everything for everyone, helping people out, drawing cards, and nerfing the villain with being able to pick out his worstest cards and getting rid of his really good cards, redirecting the damage from the lowest target to the highest target. Yes, it's going to take her a few turns to get up and running, but she doesn't take a lot of damage while she's getting set up. She can still do some damage, and once she is set up, she is just incredibly good and incredibly useful and incredibly fun character to play. Then that's why a lot of people love playing her. Hey, there's Phoenix Knight. Speaking of the devil, right there he is. Phoenix Knight. I prefer Plan A with WRAITH on the team. Hard hit hard and hit fast. There you go. Yeah, I just mentioned to you, Phoenix, that, when I played with you, you wanted to play with WRAITH. And she's a very popular character with a lot of people. I know a lot of people like playing her because she's a lot of fun. Getting to play a lot of cards and getting all of her stuff into play and getting to mess with the boss and getting to, do damage to people when they hit you. And, yeah, she's just a lot of fun to play. Great character. Like I said, she can go into any group of heroes to kind of accentuate and help whatever they need. She also has this, which she's got the, this one here, which reduces damage by the environment cards. She also has the razor. Oh, no, that's not the one I'm looking for. It is the grappling hook, which destroys an ongoing card or environment card. I mean, she's so useful in so many situations. So good. Highly recommend you try her out. She's great for new players, old players. She does have a lot of strategy. She's kind of a mid complexity character. She's not very straightforward, but mostly straightforward. And yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting things to do with her, and not taking damage from enemy attacks. I mean, what can you say? That's really cool. Alright, so that is our last of the Freedom 5 in our tutorial series. We are continuing. There's the box. We're continuing looking through the core Sentinels of the Multiverse Enhanced Edition with all the other characters there is. I'm trying to remember exactly how many characters come in the core box. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There is 11 characters. Really? 11? That seems like a weird number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, that's 10. Right. There's 10 characters. So we looked at half of the characters so far. We still have to look at Visionary. We have to look at Tempest. We have to look at Raw. We have to look at Haka. And we have to look at Fnatic. These are the other 5 characters that are not in the Freedom 5 categories. And so we'll be going through those characters next, in no particular order. If there's somebody you want to see a tutorial series for, let me know in the comments section down below. Otherwise, we'll probably see, since Fnatic's, I'm looking at Fnatic, maybe we'll see Fnatic next time. Until then, my friends, thanks so much for coming by. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and we will see you soon. Until then, my friends, I will see you all down the line. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.